Hello and welcome to In Medias Res, where we go beyond first impressions and see what a game has to offer once you're at least an hour in. Today we're checking out Dub Wars, released on July 19th, 2016 from Yura Interactive and published by Wobble Entertainment, LLC. This game is something that I didn't know I wanted. It's a shoot 'em up combined with a music game. It's like somebody took the concept of the dubstep gun in Saints Row 4 and built an entire game around it, which is awesome, considering that is unironically one of my favorite weapons from that game. Now, as far as the soundtrack goes, the songs are taken from a bunch of relatively unknown artists, which is a smart way of A, signal boosting their music, and B, raising their profiles in the music scene. Each song takes place on a different planet, and each planet has its own flavor for that song. The first song, for example, takes place in a city. Another song has you flying around, avoiding asteroids directly above a planet's surface. And one of my favorites, and one of the weirdest actually, takes place in a concert venue where a giant brain acts as a DJ while aliens crowd surf. As you fly around each level, your ship's attacks are synced to that particular song that you're playing at that moment. And some parts of the track may trigger lasers or guns, projectiles, missiles, shields, the list goes on, right? The weapons change from track to track, so a strategy that might work for one song may not necessarily work for another. You can always upgrade the effectiveness of your weapons, you can increase your health, and you do that by collecting wubs, which enemies sometimes drop. Wubs are the game's currency, which you spend to upgrade your ship. Now, unlike most shoot-em-ups, there are moments where you are completely defenseless. If you've heard any dubstep or electronic song ever, you'd know that several DJs are found of the drop, when the song drops its energy for a few moments, only to slowly build it back up again, and it leads to a nice conclusion, right? Usually this acts as the song's bridge or something. The problem with that, in this game, is that those moments that lead up to that drop, weapons either don't fire as frequently or they stop firing at all. And on harder difficulty levels, this can lead to some tense moments as you dart about the screen trying to avoid running into enemies and running into enemy projectiles. And one of my gripes about this game stems from this mechanic. Not the mechanic itself though. As I said before, those moments are actually really tense and exciting. The problem comes from how the ship handles. There's a slight delay on the controls when it comes to quick movement. And what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, I'm heading to the top right of the screen, and I need to quickly move left or move right to avoid a missile or an asteroid, or I need to double back to avoid going to the top right, and I need to go back to the bottom left. There's an ever so slight delay on the ship's movement opposite of your current direction, and the ship feels just a little bit floaty. So if you're a huge shoot 'em up fan, you need tight controls, and you need ships or planes or whatever that start and stop on a dime. Unfortunately, because of these controls, I don't see myself playing some of the songs on the harder or hardest difficulty levels. Don't get me wrong, the songs are still great. I just don't think that I'll want to replay them with remixed enemy waves, remixed enemy patterns, and of course, lower health and lower weapon effectiveness. If you go to the Dub Wars Steam page, you'll see that the first review, i.e. the most helpful one, is negative. And it goes on to say that the Dub Wars demo, released in 2014, was better and played better. I'll say this much. I'm not going to show you footage of it, but I'll say this much. It's definitely different. The art style is a little bit different, and the game controls differently. Is it better? Well, that's for you to decide if you want to pursue the game. At its current price point, despite some of the negativity that may have come across in this video, I still recommend Dub Wars, if only for the fact that there's not a lot of games like it. This is definitely a game you can play at a house party, for example. There are some good, actually danceable songs, and some crazy attention-grabbing visuals. Just be aware that there's only currently 10 songs in the game. You can find Dub Wars for $10 on Steam, and you can also download the Dub Wars demo off of Steam if you feel like checking it out for free. And that's it for Dub Wars. Let me know in the comments if this is your kind of jam or not. Also, if you have any suggestions for games that you believe are worth sharing about, you can also let me know in the comments. If you like what you saw, feel free to leave a like or even subscribe. In Medias Res will be my new go-to series when I'm not screaming with or at my friends while we play some games. Before I end this video, I want you to feel free to preview a song in its entirety. You can probably use this moment to gauge how much you'll enjoy the soundtrack. This particular song, you're either going to love it or hate it. And you're also going to gauge how much you enjoy the gameplay. That being said, if you get motion sickness easily, you may not want to stick around shortly after I sign off. I'm JB from XFIL Nation, and thanks for watching.